Yes, guys, what is happening? And welcome back to the channel and welcome to this evening's live stream. And the big news is Chelsea have agreed a fee with Leeds United for Brazilian international and winger Raphinha, 25 years of age. Great player. I'm really excited by this one. The news literally breaking in the last hour or so. I mean, at the start of the day, Chelsea was reportedly interested in Raphinha. End of the day, it's done. We are moving mad. Boehly coming in hot. Arsenal mudded as well. Thought they were signing him. We got one up on them. He was never going to those Europa League shitters. And now Raphinha is coming to the bridge. George, fee in the region of 60 to 65 million pounds. That's with the add-ons included. Fabrizio Romano tweeting out, Chelsea Leeds have reached full agreement for Raphinha. Bid accepted around 60, 65 million with add-ons included. Talks now ongoing on the player side on personal terms and contract. Boehly's on it. Obviously, Raphinha represented by former Chelsea midfield player Deco. So that should be pretty easy to sort those personal terms out. Shouldn't be a problem at all. And he goes on to add, Chelsea now going into talks with Raphinha's side on personal terms. Key step before the here we go, as Arsenal and Barca were in talks with Leeds also this morning. Deal is fully agreed between Chelsea and Leeds. George, how excited are you by this prospect? You know, we've been saying for a couple of weeks now, we want Chelsea to do some stuff. And now today, we've exploded and we have arrived and we're coming in hot. Raphinha, done. Your thoughts?
Yeah, this is a big one, isn't it? We couldn't have Arsenal pitching us to the post again after the Gabriel Jesus debacle, which we knew he was a player that could definitely improve the squad. Why he's chosen to go to Arsenal, I have no idea. But they can certainly add this into their shitty All or Nothing documentary that's coming out soon. Nothing for Raphinha. He will not be joining that absolute joke of a club. Exciting, great age, Premier League proven player. I think he's got 17 goals across 2 seasons for Leeds. He excites me. I think the only reservation, which was why we perhaps didn't go in for him initially, was perhaps we've got players of a similar ilk at the club already. He's obviously a touch above in terms of class. But I like it, mate. Again, we said it on the channel, haven't we, about bringing in Premier League proven players who are ready to go, hit the ground running. Yes, he'll need time to bed in with the new system and all the rest of it and the way we play. But in terms of he's not really a prospect, is he? He's more of the standard Chelsea signing of a kind of ready to go playmaker, which I really love about this.
I mean, yeah, he's 25 years of age, which you said. Great. It's a great age. Got the best years of his career ahead of him. He's had 2 seasons at Leeds. He's been the shining light in what has been a struggling side, you know, just avoiding relegation last time out. It can often be kind of, I don't want to say misleading when you see someone doing so well for a relegation threatened team or a team where, you know, he's so obviously the best player. And it's going to be a real test of his credentials when he steps up into a team at Chelsea where he's just going to be another player to go along with so many top players. I mean, George, how do you see, I know it's early days, but how do you see him adjusting to stepping up for Chelsea, playing in the Champions League? Obviously, he won't get as much freedom as he might have done playing for Leeds. He might have to adapt his game slightly, but I mean, do you see that being an issue?
Potentially. I mean, I don't think you'll doubt the challenge that's in front of him, and I think he'll relish that challenge. Players who tend to make the step up, they'll either succeed or crumble, and you know, only time will tell. City's a great example of players that come in, and you know, you're talking about £100 million for Jack Grealish, not necessarily even a first team starter. They've done it with other players before, so when you make that step up in class, there's no guarantee that you're going to get first team appearances week in, week out, because the demand and the margin for error is so much greater at a club like Chelsea. You have to take your chances, you have to be on it, and you have to get the performances when it matters at the very highest level. And it is a completely different system, formation, coaching aspect, philosophy, and ambition. I mean, our ambitions are totally, you know, polar opposites to what Leeds United's are, which will be to survive again in the Premier League. You know, anything but a win in any game for Chelsea is considered a bad result. So that the criteria changes, but he seems like a player that won't let that affect him. And I can only mirror what a lot of Chelsea fans must be thinking. Thank God we've got something over the line, and what a player to bring in to kind of start off what could be a very exciting window.
Mate, I'm can't lie. I'm very excited by this one. Absolutely delighted that something's materialised so quickly. I mean, George, two things I want to ask you. The fee. Now we know, like, the transfer market is inflated at the moment. Inflation, prices are big. Raphinha, 65 million pounds there or thereabouts with the add-ons included. It's a lot of money, but if he's going to be here for, say, 5-6 seasons and he does well, it's a very good investment. And I think, to be honest, with someone at 25 years of age from the Premier League, or just in general, like a top quality wide player, you're going to struggle to pay anything less, really, aren't you? So, I mean, you can't really say the fee's extortionate, can you? Unless it doesn't work out, I suppose.
Well, he was a player that had a lot of interest as well from other clubs. Arsenal and Barcelona both tussling for a signature as well. So when Leeds United have got those options, they can inflate the price all they want. They obviously know he's a big player for them as well. They'll need to have money to reinvest. They needed to cushion it slightly to be able to recalibrate that fees back into their squad. And unfortunately, it is the market these days, isn't it? I mean, he was never going to sign another extension at Leeds United, so I suppose Leeds had to act fast. It is big. It's probably more than I would like, but I mean, can we argue too much if we've got the player that we wanted? And I suppose at the end of the day, yes, only time will tell whether it's value, but let's be honest. I mean, nothing can be as bad as what Lukaku's turned out to be.
Yeah.
So we can only really. I mean, the price is the price at the end of the day.
Yeah, no, it is, mate. I don't think we can complain too much about the fee. Tuchel wanted the player. He's a big fan of Raphinha. Boehly's backed it. He's bringing Raphinha to the bridge, and you've got to pay whatever it takes. We want the manager to be backed. He's being backed, and if that's the fee, then that's the fee, and it's as simple as that, really. Mate, it's also great to see that even in the short space of time that Boehly's been here, how massively Chelsea's transfer strategy seems to have changed. Under Roman, when do we ever see us kind of acting really quickly? It's almost like literally this deal's come out of nowhere. It's like there was a bit of, links to Raphinha, but it wasn't like it was a priority. And then suddenly it's just like, bang, it's done. I mean, it's so refreshing to see because so often in the past we've seen, we've been monitoring someone for ages. We either don't offer the extra 2 or 3 mil they want, or we take so fucking long that they end up going somewhere else. This is a bit really refreshing to see, and I'm loving Boehly's approach at the moment.
I mean, especially with this one, because we did generally think that Arsenal were going to get the double duo with the 2 Brazilians, and we were going to miss out again because I think there's no doubt that Chelsea were in for Gabriel Jesus, whether that was public information or not. I think there was certainly a feeling of a missed opportunity.
It was offered.
Why?
Yeah.
Well, why he would choose Arsenal over Chelsea, that doesn't add up for me. I think Chelsea just haven't gone in strong enough.
Yeah.
And then we've seen the news that Arsenal perhaps are going to get Raphinha, and we thought we cannot let this happen. So whether we've gone for this signing out to stop opposition around us gaining more strength, perhaps. But I think he was always a player on Tuchel's radar. There are issues with Boehly's approach for me personally. I like the idea he's acting fast and he's got his own ideas. And, if he's essentially, I mean, it's his train set, it's his money. He can do what he wants with the football club. But the fact that he's changing a lot of the upstairs, yes, he wants to do things a different way. But I don't like the idea that he's being the puppeteer for all of the moves, because I think essentially you need people around that know how to run Chelsea Football Club who have been there and done it in this country. That's my only thing that I might look back on in a couple of years in time and think there's been plenty of owners before that have come in from abroad and not got it right because they've done this bullish approach and think that they know it all.
I think with this stuff, I think this is just in the short term whilst he gets the people in that he wants. Obviously, Marina, Buck, Czech, all leaving. That's fine, not a problem. I think in the short term, Boehly's going to have to do all this stuff because he hasn't had the time yet to bring his people in. But obviously, I think over time, there will be obviously different people coming in to do those jobs. But I mean, yeah, guys, keep smashing that like button. Make sure you subscribe as well. There's over 20 of us in here at the moment. So please do smash the like button and subscribe as well. I mean, mate, also, we're going for Premier League proven players. We've been going on about this for so long. Premier League proven. Why do we not buy from within the Premier League more often? And now it finally seems that we're actually doing this. Raphinha, Sterling potentially to come, which we'll get onto in a sec. Looking at potentially Nathan Ake as well. This is like, we've never done this. When have Chelsea ever shopped from within the Premier League? I think it's a massive trick we've missed with not trying to buy players from within the league. When you see the success the likes of Liverpool have with Sadio Mane, Jota, etc. How pleased are you to see that we're going for players from within our own league? Because normally we just go for big names from Europe, and 9 times out of 10, it's a fucking disaster.
And I think it shows the strength of the Premier League. Players almost need that couple of years in this league to really test their minerals and see if they're able to cut it or not. I honestly do believe, there are a few exceptions, players like Lewandowski, Benzema, but I truly do believe that in order to be a world-class, quality, consistent footballer, you have to be able to mix it in the Premier League. The classic example of how would Messi do on a, cold Monday night at Stoke, would he be as good? I don't know, mate. I really don't. I'm not doubting his ability, but I'm saying that there are different elements to the Premier League that are unrivaled from other leagues. I mean, they're just not as competitive. And Chelsea definitely have missed a trick. And we've gone down that avenue of buying the next best thing from abroad. And, look at Havertz and they labelled the next Michael Ballack or the next German sensation. That could remain to be seen. I mean, I spoke to you privately about they're still very young, those players. Him and Timo Werner alike, they could go on to be great. But I think Chelsea have gone down a different tact. We said we wanted to be bullish. We said we wanted to do smart business in capital letters. And we're doing both, which is promising. And hopefully this will be the mark of what's to come with Sterling and the like.
Yeah, no, mate, 100%. Let's just get to a couple of things in the chat. What we got here, Raphinha, yeah, all good. What number do you think Raphinha will wear? I mean, I've got no idea, Dan. I'd imagine if Werner or Ziyech leaves, probably take 11 or 22. I imagine one of those two numbers.
11, I reckon.
I reckon 11, mate. I might even get a Raphinha shirt with 11 on the back if he ends up being that number. Who knows? Depends who else. Depends who else we bring in. Texas Blue, big up, bro. Cheers for tuning in. Oh, mate, don't like this move. Why not use this money for positions we actually need? Centre back.
It's a good point, though.
Nah, to be fair, Texas Blue, I get what you're saying, mate, but trust me, Boehly's sourcing. He's got cash for days, mate. We are getting, I promise you, centre backs will be coming and defensive midfield player probably coming. Not so sure about defensive midfield player, but Boehly's got cash to burn, mate. Centre backs will be coming in. But I do agree ever so slightly that we know that defence is our priority. Yeah, it seems to be attacking moves that are getting done first. I'm not really sure about that myself, but I'm not complaining. It needs to be addressed. And as RD says, you can't miss out on players like Raphinha because you're looking at addressing other areas. You've got to just go and do it. You've got to go and do it when you can. Let me just quickly bring this up. Sterling, 13 goals in the league last year. Raphinha, 11 goals. None of our attackers hit 10. Yeah, that's a fair point. These guys score goals, and that's one thing that Chelsea need. By the way, guys, over 30 of us in here now, so please keep smashing that like button. Click the subscribe button as well. We want to hit 600 by the end of this week. I'm sure there's a few of you in here that haven't subscribed, so please do click that subscribe
bell.
Hit that button, guys. Hit that button. We're bringing you this news. We love interacting with you all, so please do smash that like button and please click that subscribe button as well. Moses, Thomas, big up, mate. I love this move. Yeah, mate, I'm loving it as well. I love it even more because we shafted Arsenal. Makes it even better. Absolutely love that, mate. I'm seeing Arsenal fans on a timeline. Raphinha's done. They're making compilation videos of him. They're mocking him up in Arsenal shirts. Unlucky guys. Hold that L. Enjoy your Thursday night football, you shitters. Moving on, George. Raphinha obviously in through the door. Well, not quite. Raheem Sterling, another one we've spoken about many times. There's movements here now. There's confidence from sources that this could be an agreement could be reached by the weekend potentially for Raheem Sterling. Ooh. Oh, that's the wrong one. Shit. Sorry about that, guys. That's the wrong one. Bid is said to be going in. I think it's going to be £35 million plus add-ons, or that might include plus. I don't think it's enough, to be perfectly honest.
Not. What is the point?
Demarcio, Chelsea are sending the Raheem Sterling bid in the next hours. It will be 35 to 40 million pounds with add-ons. George, do you think that's going to be enough? I probably think it's going to be just short. I think it's going to take more, 40 to 45 with add-ons included. What do you reckon? You think this is going to be turned down?
I'm not being funny, mate, but we know that. So how are the people in charge? We're going to fax this to you, mate. £35 million. Everyone agree? Yeah. Put your hands up. I mean, you could ask anyone on the street. That is not enough money. They're not going to accept £35 million plus this add-on business for Raheem Sterling. They're not. Yes, he's on his last year of his contract, but he'll be more than happy to stay there. Pep is in no position to have to sell him at all. Obviously, I don't know what the player feels about it. He probably wants more first-team football, but it's not enough, is it? I agree. I think I'd be shocked if that is the offer that's going in, and we don't know for sure, but reports are saying 35 to 40 plus add-ons. I think that's short. I think we'd have to go in for a third time.
I think that's a little bit short as well. I think that will be knocked back, but I think an agreement can be reached. One thing I would say in defence of going in low to begin with, you don't want to go in too high because you end up getting mugged off. If you go in a little bit low, then you can kind of meet in the middle as such. But yeah, I think this bid will get turned down, and we'll go back again, and we'll get probably 40 million pounds with add-ons. Maybe I would expect. But George, Sterling, I think is going to happen. It should be done. Hopefully before pre-season starts, kind of at the weekend start of next week. How excited are you, mate, to sit potentially 90% or 99% really? We're going to be seeing Raphinha and Sterling as part of a new look attack for Chelsea. I mean, what are your thoughts on that? I know there's a long way to go before we get to the first game and see those two in a Chelsea shirt, etc. But I mean, it sounds exciting, doesn't it? And the attack did need revamping. It might not have been a priority, but this is a major revamp, and potentially with Dembele maybe also on a free, possibly. I mean, that's not completely dead and buried and out of the question, I don't think.
New era, new approach. It's very like Moneyball-esque going on at Chelsea with, looking at the statistics and, like someone put in the chat earlier, both in double digits in terms of goals in the Premier League. And that's what we seriously lack still. We've got all this attacking supposedly talent. I mean, all those forward players have had 2 or 3 years in the Premier League and haven't done much combined. And we have struggled with that in the past. It's not just these collective of players that, Frank Lampard brought in his first transfer window. I mean, you look at players like Willian, who we heavily criticised, both you and I, for the lack of return for assists and goals. I mean, Hazard was really the only focal point for a number of years at the club. So it has been an area that we've struggled, and I think there's no doubt this is becoming very sexy up front for Chelsea. I mean, again, there's no guarantee that these players are going to do as well. There's been even talks that perhaps this is a step down for Sterling, and that actually could he be on the decline, and that's why City are quite inclined to open to offers. I personally don't think so, but then Chelsea play a different way. Has he had his best years? He's had 5 or 6 very consistent years.
He's only 27. He's got the prime of his career ahead of him. There's no way. I don't think he's had his best years. I think that's.
I mean, we don't know.
I mean, don't get me wrong, mate. I've got to be. I know you're a massive Sterling fan. In the past, I've not perhaps had the most complimentary words to say about him, but having said that,
that's saying
I'm happy to accept when I'm wrong. Having said that, mate, I'm actually warming to this a bit more, and I do like it. His Premier League record is second to none. I think only Salah and Mane have scored more goals than him as a wide man in the Premier League. Only 3 players under Pep Guardiola have scored over 100 goals. Aguero, Messi, Raheem Sterling. I'm not saying he's in the same bracket as them. He's not, but he scores goals. And this is what we need. English. I mean, not that makes really much of a difference. Knows the Premier League. I mean, I'm excited by this. I mean, do you think this potentially, mate, brings us to a change of formation? Because Raphinha and Sterling are very much wingers. Do you think we're going to stick with a 3-4-3? I know it's going to be it's hard, but I think we probably still will, but I don't know. Getting 2 actual out-and-out wingers. Maybe we could go 4-3-3. I'm not really sure. I think that still depends on whether we get a defensive midfield target. I mean, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think it's still dependent on the defensive midfielder area, but I would quite like to see a change of formation. I think it was getting a little bit predictable. Too much in changing in and around the box, a bit slow. And I think the out-and-out wingers, as they are, I think it brings way more opportunities to score goals. And ironically, those 2 sort of players would have been ideal for someone like Lukaku, which is quite ridiculous to say.
It's mad.
They would have been pinging balls into the box, left, right, and centre every single game, and it would have been perfect for him just to poach them in. But that's by the by now. it could be back to the old school, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Mate, them touchline wingers, like those Robin, Duff, Joe Cole days, mate. Mate,
what's wrong with that?
We were balling in those days for sure. Guys, over 50 of you in here now. There's definitely not that many likes, so please do smash the like button.
Get those, hitting that bell.
Guys, get those likes up. Don't do us dirty like that. You know, all you got to do, it's free. Just click that like button and click that subscribe button as well, guys. We love that you're all tuning in, but please do help us out by hitting the subscribe button and the like button. Abdul, what are you saying, bro? Bring Felix. I mean, I don't think João Felix, unfortunately, is going to come to. Oh, not that. Going to come to Chelsea, but you never know. What else is going on here? Who we got? MCIG. What are we saying? Mason's going in the wrong direction. I don't know how he's going to get playing time. Do you know what, mate? I've seen a little bit of this doing the rounds, mate. If we stick with a 3-4-3 formation, I'm not saying that Mount's not going to play, but Mount's not going to be regular starter potentially in a 3-4-3, because if you look at, he will start games. I don't think he's not a shoe-in to start every game. If you've got Sterling and Raphinha, you think are they going to start ahead of Mount in that 3-4-3? If you go 4-3-3, then Mount obviously drops in and plays an 8 in midfield. Yeah. But with a 3-4-3, I'm not worried for Mount necessarily, but I don't think maybe he won't play as many games as he has done in the past couple of seasons potentially.
I still think he will, but I think the key in there is he's got to adapt. He's going to have to take a new role. I don't think he's going to be on that right hand side of a 3 anymore. Having said that, I still think Raphinha's still going to have to win me over. I think I'd be surprised if Sterling wasn't a starter from the off on the left hand side, but on the right, I mean, for me, Mount's still a better player overall than Raphinha is for me personally. But yeah, he's got competition for places, but that can only be healthy for Chelsea.
Yeah.
And that you know, I know it's different, but I've seen Mount play a few times for England recently, and he has looked a bit off the ball. Whether he's tired, I don't know. But he's going to have to step up his game. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, no, for sure, Matt. And to be fair, though, you look at Mount, he's played so much football. I actually think having these extra options here, and hopefully they'll deliver, will actually maybe take a bit of pressure on him. And he won't be like, oh, God, I've got to step up and do this now because no one else is doing it. You'd like to think that the likes of, Raphinha, Sterling, etc., will kind of take some of that burden off Mount and kind of help him out, because it was very much like last season. We're very much looking to Mount to do everything, basically. If Mount didn't really contribute in any way, Chelsea weren't necessarily doing anything good, to be perfectly honest in that. But I mean, no, I've seen it doing the rounds on Twitter, people concerned. I don't think so. I just think maybe Mount will get a bit more rest, a bit more rotation, slightly less pressure on him. Could actually, power him on to perform even better, because he's not a guy that shies away from a challenge. So I don't think there's anything to worry about in terms of Mason Mount's game time next season. He'll see plenty of minutes for sure. He will see plenty of minutes. I don't think that's a problem. Abdul, Mount's minutes are going to be reduced in midfield. Him and Connor battle it out as well. I mean, guys, over 60 of you in here now. We are cooking tonight. These guys obviously loving the Raphinha news. We are cooking. Boehly's cooking. Chelsea are cooking. London's blue. We are smashing it.
Look, we want to quit our day job. So if all of you
guys,
subscribe.
There's 66 of you lot in here now. Click that subscribe button. There's definitely some new guys around there. Spread the word, guys. Click that subscribe button. Smash the likes as well. There's definitely not 66 likes on this stream. So let's get hitting that like button. Click that subscribe button. Do your thing, guys. Chelsea for life. Yes, all about that. Chelsea for life. George, just moving away from attacking targets ever so slightly. Nathan Ake, again, seems to be doing the rounds. Someone was asked about De Ligt as well. I will get to that. Over 70 of you in here now. Big up, guys. You know what to do. Do your thing. Mate, Nathan Ake. It's drawn a bit of criticism on Twitter from certain sections of Chelsea fans. It's not like a sexy signing or whatever. I've got to be honest, mate. I'm not completely opposed to this. I don't actually dislike it that much. He's not my first choice. Let me get that straight. But having said that, if we bring in a De Ligt and then as well as an Ake or Koundé and Ake or whatever it is, I don't actually mind it that much, mate. Nathan Ake, he's like 27 years of age. He's experienced. He's won stuff. He can play. He's versatile. Can play centre back. Can play left back. Holding midfield as an emergency. Like, all right, it's not glamorous, but mate, what do you think about this Nathan Ake thing? I don't think it's that bad, mate. I really don't. I mean, as I said, not my first choice, but I don't think it's as bad as people are making it out to be.
No, I agree with you, but it's natural criticism because people will instinctively see it as a step backwards because you're re-signing someone that you've got rid of, and did he really do it first time around a Chelsea shirt? No. What's the classic saying? When players come back, it's never the same. They never do as well. But the difference with Ake compared to someone like, I don't know, a Drogba coming back or someone like that is he was fairly young when he left and he didn't really get the opportunities when he played. You're right. He's not a sexy signing compared to Raphinha or Sterling, but he's reinforcement in numbers. And he's, like we've explained in previous videos, he's very adaptable, which is handy when you've got injuries and squad rotation that he can play in numerous positions across the back. He knows the ins and outs of Chelsea, the training grounds, some players, some staff that still work there, so that will help him ease in. And he's a good all-round footballer, mate.
Yeah.
When he was at Chelsea, I didn't particularly have a problem with him. It was just at the case when he was at there, we had JT, Gary Cahill, players that he just was not going to get in front of. And it's the same situation at Man City. Chelsea at the moment don't really have many competitions for places at the back. I mean, it's particularly with Rudiger and Christensen leaving. So yes, this is all pending on Ake comes in along with a big signing like a De Ligt or a Koundé.
Yeah.
But
no,
if it was just Ake, then obviously there are question marks.
Yeah, no, it won't just be Ake. It would be Ake as well as someone else. Guys, over 100 of you in here now. You know what to do. Smash the like button, click that subscribe button as well. On the road to 600 subs by the end of this week. I know there's definitely loads of new guys tuning in, so hit that subscribe button, get us to that 600 mark. Maybe by the end of this
free,
stream.
Guys. Takes no time at all.
It's free as well. Wayne, big up. Let me just get to something.
Fans. Come on.
Good signing. Let's get it. Let's get Rice now. Yeah. Bodie's been sourcing. We just need some rice to go.
I love the rice emoji.
Mate, we need some rice to go with that sauce that Bodie's been dishing out. So hopefully, mate, a bit of rice and sauce. Bodie's do the boys a solid there and get us in. MC, yeah, big up, mate. Ake can play. Yeah, the versatility, I think, is a big thing for Tuchel in terms of Nathan Ake. He does really like him. I mean, George, how important is that versatility? Because you can almost, if you sign someone like an Ake who's versatile, it potentially almost ticks off two positions with one signing in essence. Do you think that's part of the attraction as well?
Smart business, mate. We said it from day one when the window opened. We need smart business. There's no point buying 50, 60 million pound players for each position. You need to think, right, strength in numbers. If you have Ake for most of the League Cup matches, the odd Champions League group game, injuries, when we've got matches in the league, you look at Ake in a lineup, other than maybe a couple of the big boys at the top, he fits in to most teams that you'd be comfortable with. Yes, he still makes mistakes, but all defenders do. And like I said, we're not excited by this one. It's not like, oh, great, Nathan Ake, but he does add strength in other areas with his experience and the fact that he is, and the key to that is that he's adaptable. He can play in different positions, which is always handy.
Yeah, mate, I 100% agree with that. I mean, let me just get to a couple bits in the chat. Jules Koundé, Moses, I still think Jules Koundé, super defender, really good. Saw him playing for Villarreal and France. Trust me, he's good. Yeah, mate, I agree. Koundé is good. It seems to have gone a little bit quiet on the Koundé thing now. He seems to have been chasing him for a long time, and yet no official proposals or bid has got in at all for him. 65 million euros is what Sevilla want for him. Tuchel supposedly is not his number one target. Matt Law from the Telegraph reporting the other day that De Ligt is Chelsea's number one priority in defence. Koundé's still on the list. He's high up on that list along with the likes of Nathan Ake. But I think De Ligt is the main target now. And I think potentially Chelsea feel that, Koundé can be done, but we want to explore this De Ligt option all the way to the end. But you run the risk of kind of pissing off Koundé, making him feel like a bit of a side man. And just waiting, like some halloumi cheese on the side there, just waiting to be picked up. But I mean, what mate Koundé like that halloumi cheese to De Ligt's Nando's, mate?
I don't think you'll find any YouTube, and this is why you should subscribe, guys. You will not get banter on any YouTube that has described Koundé as halloumi cheese.
Well, mate, at the moment he's a bit of a mate. He's like a side man, mate. He is like halloumi on the side, mate. He
is a Nando side, isn't he?
He's a Nando side. He's a Nando side, mate. He is at the moment. But George, De Ligt, we've spoken about him before. Big fans of his. 22 years of age. He's going to be very expensive. Juve are driving a hard bargain here. Again, Timo Werner potentially involved in a swap deal. We've spoken about this, but I mean, if Juve decided that they don't want Werner, or they're potentially interested in other players as well. Mate, would you be prepared, if it wasn't Werner, would you be happy to offer either Emerson or Jorginho plus cash? Or do you think, it's like, or do you think actually Jorginho, we should maybe keep him? I don't know. I don't know about Jorginho. It's an interesting one. I mean, De Ligt needs to come in. If he's the number one target, we've got to explore every option possible with him. But would you be happy to see Jorginho go as part of the deal?
Yeah, obviously it's not my first option. I think, like we said, we'd rather have Timo Werner or possibly Ziyech in there. But Jorginho, for me, I think we just have to look forward. I mean, he does still have great games. He's still a very experienced player. But for me, Chelsea seem to be going down a different way. We want to play faster football. Yes, he's very disciplined, but he's also incredibly slow in the transition. I don't know. There's something about me that loves Jorginho, but I think if it was to ensure that we got someone like a De Ligt, I would be very tempted to just say, look, because of his age and everything else, I think I'd be tempted to say we're it's a congested area anyway. We need a star centre half. We really do.
Yeah, I mean, it's reported that Chelsea are going to sign 2 centre-backs this summer. So there's obviously cash to spend, money to bring in through outgoings as well. But I mean, supposedly out of the 200 million budget that Chelsea have got available without player sales, almost half of that's gone or more on Sterling and Raphinha. Obviously, we're going to have to ship some players out as well. But George, centre-backs for you, do you think it's De Ligt and Koundé, or do you think it's De Ligt or Koundé plus maybe an Ake?
I think it's De Ligt or. I don't think it's and. I think Ake will, despite being adaptable, will probably be one of the two. Depending on the price. I mean, it could be Koundé and someone else. Maybe De Ligt will they might potentially outprice us, and we'll look elsewhere. But it's going to take something a bold move because he's going to be so expensive. But risk worth taking, perhaps because of his age. I would say yes, but you just never know.
I mean, yeah, because Koundé and De Ligt, I think, same age pretty much. I think Koundé might be a few months old. I think Koundé may be 23 or close to 23. De Ligt's 22. Obviously, De Ligt's more top level experience in terms of kind of Champions League experience, etc., etc. Great leadership qualities as well. But I think Koundé, I'd be equally happy with. I agree with you, mate. I'd be very surprised if it was Koundé and De Ligt. I think it's very much one of those two to go along with maybe an Ake. I mean, George, the Skriniar links are back again as well. I mean, Inter are going to ask for a lot of money for him. Inter have already mugged us off with Lukaku. I mean, if we really wanted Skriniar, maybe we could have involved him in a swap deal with Lukaku, but evidently not. I mean, do you think that's potentially worth revisiting? I think PSG obviously are in the race for Skriniar as well. They'd probably be prepared to pay more than we would be. Thoughts on Skriniar? Do you know much about him? He's not got a lot of pace though, and you start thinking about it, if you're looking at De Ligt, not the quickest, Skriniar not the quickest, and then if you play Thiago Silva as well, not the quickest, you're then looking at quite a slow back line.
And that's probably why Thiago Silva and Rudiger worked so well, because Rudiger had that pace. For me, Skriniar, good player, but he's more of a contingency plan if all the rest falls through. You've got to keep your options open, and obviously these processes take a long time, so you can't just shut off an option just because you're like, right, we're going for De Ligt, that's it. Because if it does fall through, you have to have those contingency in place. So I think at the moment Chelsea are dabbling in keeping their fingers in a lot of pies to just keep everyone nice and warm, and then hopefully dish out a few absolute crackers at the end.
Yeah, I would agree, man. I think I've noticed as well that, it very much seems under Boehly that we've got like a main target, but then we're also working on like the secondary target, so that if the main target can't happen, we're already relatively advanced with the second choice, so that we can strike and go straight in. I almost feel like that's kind of the vibe we're getting from Raphinha as well, that like we're probably looking at Dembele thinking maybe that's not going to happen now, but we'll keep negotiating with Raphinha, and then when we're ready to strike, we go, and we're already quite far in. So I am liking that approach. How we're kind of just negotiating for multiple targets at once, rather than doing one. It doesn't work out, and then we're scrambling for someone else. Let me just get this up from Wayne. He's got get us some rice. What's that? Rice with some sort of volcano, is it?
No, it's
Rice something with a salute and a volt. Is that a volcano? I can't really fucking see. I don't really know. Not really sure what that is. And whatever it is, mate, get us some Rice. George, before we round out, mate, Rice. Yeah. I mean, it was the one on everyone's lips at the moment, mate. West Ham keeps seeming to bring it out, like kind of briefing the media that he's definitely not for sale. He's not leaving. If they've already said that once, they seem to be saying it multiple times. Not sure what they're concerned about. Saying he's at that sale for no cost, which is obviously not true. But they're not going to come out and say he is for sale. They're spending a lot of money as well. I mean, do you think they're spending the Rice money in anticipation for a bid from Chelsea coming in? I mean, there's not been an awful lot on this at the moment. This will be one that goes well into the window, I believe. Probably will still be going on by the time the season starts. So, I mean, what are your thoughts on it? Do you think this can happen?
I don't know, like, stranger things have happened, but West Ham have got a tendency to be quite standoffish in these types of things with big players. And Rice is obviously their prized possession, club captain. They'll obviously be very reluctant to sell, but like you said, mate, it's bollocks that they're saying that everyone has their price in the Premier League. I mean, come on. It's going to take a lot of money. Because of all the factors, his age, they need money to respend it. But you could be right, mate. Maybe they are thinking, spend the money now. I'm sure we can get 80+ million for Rice, possibly more. And we'll see. But I think it's going to be one where it's more hope than actually any tangible evidence to it. Because I could see him staying at West Ham for another year.
Yeah, for sure. He's got 3 years left on his contract. He's 22 years of age. I don't think he's in a rush to make this move. I think he will leave West Ham. It just depends, I think, when. Swap with Broja. They want MC saying they want 75+ Broja. That's a bit mad. I mean, George, would you be happy to include someone like Broja in the deal if West Ham wanted him to sort of lower the cash up front? Do you think would you be happy with that? Or do you think we need to be maybe selling Broja separately? I mean, what are your thoughts on Broja as well, briefly? Because again, another academy prospect, but I don't really know if he's going to have much game time this season.
I got to be honest, I don't know a lot about him, but I have heard reports that Tuchel wants to see what he's like in pre-season, which seems promising. And I think I've seen some bids circulating that it was £30 million on, which is quite a lot for a player that considered a fringe player at Chelsea. So I've got to be honest, I don't know a lot about him. But if people are talking of that ilk of £30 million and Tuchel says that he wants to see him in pre-season, then maybe another loan deal, or I don't know. But if West Ham came tomorrow and said 75 million plus Broja, I'd be snapping their hands off of that, to be honest.
Yeah, I think I've got to be honest, mate. I think I'd probably take that as well. But yeah, the Rice thing just is going to be a slow burner. I mean, it's going to be in
expensive
that,
rice, isn't it?
Yeah, it is some expensive rice, mate. We're just gonna. It's just that rice is in the slow cooker, mate, and then it's just gonna cut. It's just going over nicely in that slow cooker. Leave it for a few weeks, and then suddenly, mate, it'll be popping. It'll be ready, and that rice will be fucking superb when it arrives on that Stamford Bridge grass. It'll be unbelievable. Amos saying, mate, Amos, if you could expand on this, why you don't think De Ligt is a good option? Who would you rather instead? I mean, I'm not really sure why people would think De Ligt isn't a good option, but I mean that's an interesting one there. Statement. I mean, I don't know, Amos. Also, mate, if you're new to the channel, please click that subscribe button as well. Interested to hear your thoughts as well on why you don't think De Ligt is a good option. George, just last thing, mate. Wing back cover. There's not been an awful lot of talk about any of that. The links have really been centre backs. Wayne saying that was Rice with some Jamaican jerk chicken. Yeah, deep. Yeah. Yeah. Well, why not Rice with a bit of Jamaican jerk chicken? Yeah, we like that. It's all good. I forgot. Wing back cover. George.
Yeah.
It's very much seemed that we've been linked with attackers, of which 2 are virtually signed, centre backs, but there seems to be no links for any wing backs. Does that concern you at all? I mean, it's early stages still. I'm sure stuff's going on behind the scenes, as evidently has been shown by tonight's news. But I mean, do you think that's an area that desperately needs addressing as well, isn't it?
Well, I think we all just need to calm down a little bit. We've had the Raphinha news, and we're like,
we're all gassed.
gas because obviously this looks like it's going to happen. I mean, we could come back in 24 hours time and look absolutely like stupid.
Oh mate, imagine we've done this stream absolutely gassed and bigging it up and he fails his medical or something. I'll be pissed.
Well, we'll trend for all the wrong reasons then as being
we'll have to delete the stream.
And like a lot of our mates say, we'll be turned into the Clueless brothers rather than the Blues brothers. Yeah, and I think Chelsea, look, we're very squad heavy at the moment, and we'll also need to evaluate who's still at the club. We've still got Alonso, Chilwell, Azpi's not gone anywhere. So I think with the fullback situation, it's probably more dependent on let's see who goes out first, and then revisit. There's also not a lot of outstanding wing backs available, to my knowledge.
People are loving the rice is cooking. I tell you what, mate. Just briefly on this Rice thing.
Sticky rice, my favourite.
I saw something on Twitter a while back when Arsenal played West Ham, and El Neni kind of had rice in his pocket, and this Arsenal fan tweeted, fair play to him, it was class banter. He tweeted, thought El Neni was fasting. He's currently eating rice in midfield. Because it was in Ramadan. It was fucking class.
Top draw.
Mate, El Neni was feasting on rice in Ramadan in the midfield, mate.
That is
opinion on Nathan Ake, get to that in a sec. I'm not a fan of Raphinha playing right wing back. No, I wouldn't be either. George, there's been reports potentially saying that if Chelsea were to sign Raphinha, this is a few days before this news come, that he could be used at wing back. I hope that's not true. That would be utter nonsense, wouldn't it? We've been down this route before. We've been down this route before. No. It would be.
It's like what we said about. It's like what we said about if Sterling comes in as our only number 9 option. I mean, it would just be a farce, wouldn't it? I mean, what is the point? We know where his best football is, wide left. We know where Raphinha's best football is. Yes, play them there by all means if we're stretched for numbers or there's injuries. But
don't
or
bring
you want to try something. There. You don't. Unless and we can't doubt Tuchel because he's come up with some absolute masterstrokes, but. I think sometimes people make it too complicated, like what Pep did in the Champions League final, trying to piss about. Like, just you know where their best positions are, play them there. Simple as that.
Oh, mate, I agree. Guys, we're 7 subscribers from the 600 now. There's still 57. There's still 57 of you in here. I'm sure there's 7 of you that haven't clicked that subscribe button. So,
until we get the 7.
Guys, we're not going to leave until the 600 is up. 7 more of you need to click that subscribe button. So stop hiding behind your laptops. Click that subscribe button. We're grateful for all of the support. You know, it's gone really well tonight. Warriors. We're loving it. Press that subscribe button, guys. Just move your finger over that mouse. Just hover it over that red button and click it. We'd really appreciate the support. 7 from 600, guys. So if you could help us out, that would be really, really important to us. Come on, people. Sub and like. You know what to do. Abdul, tell the people what to do, mate. Nico, opinions on Ake. We did cover this early. Probably missed it. Whilst, me and George are in agreement that he wouldn't be number 1 choice, he does actually represent not so bad of an option. The fact that he's versatile, Premier League experience, good age as well. I think people are put off by it. 1, because it's not really a sexy name, etc. And it's also not, it's the fact that people don't like to see us kind of accepting he's made a mistake, selling him to Bournemouth. Then when he went to City as well, we had an first option on him. We didn't take that up either. Then to buy him back, I think people feel a bit like embarrassed by that, which is why they're sort of put off by it as well. But Ake, I'm not against it at all. I'm really not against it. I don't think it's that. I don't think it's that bad.
Just on that, mate. Like how bizarre! It's funny how no one talks about, obviously this Lukaku situation, but no one talks about the fact that City spent 40 million and he barely used him. What a waste!
He's used a bit, but I don't think he was as good as people thought he was going to. I don't think he's not been that bad then. Admittedly, he's not played a lot though. He's not played a lot.
For 40 million pounds, if it's only because City have been winning things that no one really barks about it. But bought him for 40 million pounds, played a handful of games, and really, hasn't pushed on. But then I think at Chelsea it could be slightly different.
Yeah, no, I would agree. Mate, on a fee for Ake, if we were to go for him, we're giving City like 55 million pounds with the add-ons included, probably for Sterling. Ake, I think, has got a few more years left on his contract, etc. Yes, he's not as an important a player as Sterling. City are probably going to want at least the 40 million they paid to Bournemouth for him. Mate, what sort of a fee do you think it could be? Because I've got to be honest, mate. I would not be happy spending more than 40 million. I think if we could get 30 million, then I'd take it. But I mean, what would you think would be an acceptable fee? 'Cause I don't think City are going to want to accept much less than the 40.
I think we need to drive a harder bargain with this one because, let's be honest, I don't think City will obviously want to at least break even from this deal, but they don't really have much bearing or much, evidence to back the fact that they can make that money back from what he's given City coming from £40 million. It's funny because we're talking nonsense money already. I mean, 30 or 40 million pounds for a player that literally plays a handful of League Cup games. I would be happy with the £30 million mark. Anything over 35, and I think Chelsea are getting a bit mugged off, to be honest.
Yeah, I would agree, mate. That Sheikh
it's hard
Mansour,
to find any players for £35 million.
I mean, I think Sheikh Mansour be having our pants down there if he did that. Let me get to a few bits in the chat. Yeah, rough spoon, big up, bro. Yeah, very slow cooker on the rice. Yeah, mate, that rice is fucking on, mate. It's literally like
give it a stir now and again,
mate. When you, mate, it's like one of them plants, like an orchid, mate. You just have it, and then every so often you just go and put a bit of water in, like once a month, and then something happens. You know, we'll put a few spring onions on that rice in a couple of weeks' time. You know, bring it to life a little bit. See what we can.
Definitely
do.
Not those quick microwave 2-minute ones.
Oh, mate, it's not an Uncle. Unfortunately, mate, this rice is not an Uncle Ben's job. It's very much one of them slow cooker ones. In that rice cooker getting done. Abdul, I've read Sterling, Ake, and Jesus City will use the cash for Rafael or Felix. I don't know how true that is or not, but City will have to bring players in for sure to replace Sterling and Jesus. Hassan, big up, mate. Chelsea playing career mode. Yeah, I mean, George, this is kind of mate. This is reminiscent of one of your FIFA games, in it, mate. You love a career mode. This is the sort of shit you get up to, in it. but unlike Tuchel, it ends in the sack for you generally, doesn't it, mate?
Yeah. 9 times out of 10, I feel like I know what I'm doing, and then I get
get done. Has good vid. Big up, boys. Thank you, mate, for tuning in. I really appreciate that. Increasing chance of Dembele to be moving to Bayern or staying at the Camp Nou. MC. I've not seen that. I mean, reports that I've seen in the last couple of days very much going to be that once we get to when's June. I think Thursday is the last day of the month. So
yeah.
By Friday, if he's not made a decision, by basically midnight on Thursday, Dembele is a completely free agent if he doesn't sign with Barca. So, I mean, we've spoken about this before, mate, but I mean, do you think the Raphinha signing and to go along with Sterling, do you think that completely closes the door on Dembele? Or if he doesn't sign a new deal at Barca, goes to a free agent, mate.
And again, you have to look at it, don't you?
I think Boehly needs to get on that blower again, mate. His phone bill is going to be fucking expensive, mate. Vodafone are going to be mugging him off there. Boehly's probably running up a grand phone bill with all these phone calls from all over the place on his private jet. But, I mean, mate, would you be giving Dembele a little call if he goes as a free agent on Friday?
Yeah, mate, you better have his roaming off because he's going to have a hell of a bill, isn't he? I would be. I mean, again, we've spoken about it with the history he's got with Tuchel and the fact that we love how like pacey and direct he is. But we have marked it before the injury concerns as a worry. And again, it probably depends. You know, if Werner and Ziyech end up leaving, then that opens the door potentially for another player in that position. So I think it's one for the back burners, but the Raphinha signing does make it more likely that he probably won't come to Chelsea. But again, that remains to be seen. And I think if he is a free agent by Friday or Thursday night, as you said, I think, you know, Chelsea, again, it's all about contingency plans and having that framework of players that you've got to keep sweet.
But it also, mate, I have to say that it also gives you a bit more leverage when someone's a completely free agent.
Yeah,
I think it gives you a little bit more of leverage. I think that's one to stay across. Abdul, you guys on Twitter? Yes, mate, we are. Mine display name is next to my name on this screen here. George, what's your Twitter handle? You don't really use it that much, but what is it?
No, it's probably not worth it. It's at George.
Yeah, mate. Don't give yourself. Don't give yourself too much good PR, mate. Yeah, what's your Twitter? Shit, don't bother following that. Yeah.
I'm a bit of a dinosaur. I don't really use Twitter.
Mate, I use it, guys. If you want to give me a follow for any, just to see anything, then do give me a follow. Quickly on this, mate. Let's get to the last few bits in the chat. I really don't know if I'd like Koundé or De Ligt. I think they're both equal. What do you guys think Chelsea should sign? George, if you're having one out of Koundé or De Ligt, you can't have both. Who are you taking?
Oh, God, that is a tough one. De Ligt, but probably just because I'm a bit of a stickler when it comes to names. Don't know why. There's probably not much difference in it, but De Ligt for me.
Yeah, I would agree, mate. De Ligt for me as well. Abdul, it's going to be good for depth with Ziyech leaving as well. I'd try it. Yeah, I think if 3 attackers coming in, 3 going out, Lukaku's gone. Probably Werner and Ziyech are going to go. So you replace Lukaku, Werner and Ziyech with Sterling, Dembele and Rafinha. I mean, fuck
Great
me.
swaps. Great
mate,
swaps.
That is phenomenal. George, I think this is a very appropriate place to round out, mate, from Nico in the chat here. We didn't get to talk about this the other day. Do you think Neymar will come to the Prem?
Oh, Nico.
mate, just on Neymar, I want to bring up something that Thiago Silva's been saying, mate. Where is it? Agent Silva, mate, has been planting a few seeds. Let me just get to it. But Georgia, carry on, mate. Neymar. Yeah.
I mean, where do you start? I mean, I'd be up. Most overrated footballer in the history of football. I mean, he's an absolute nonce as far as I'm concerned.
But let me just bring this up now.
Yeah, go on. He's a classic player who's got he's one of those players that is so talented. Other players are so jealous of his talents. It's so natural. And yet he's such a lazy bastard. He doesn't, no work ethic, not a team player, greedy with money, 600k a week, no ambition because he's playing for the biggest plastic club going. Yeah, okay, he did well at Barcelona for a bit, but let's not kid ourselves. I mean, he had Messi at one side and whoever it was at the other.
Mate, I've got to be honest, he was phenomenal at Barcelona. He was balling at Barca. Like that Messi, that MSN, mate. MSN Messenger, fucking Messi, Neymar, Suarez.
He's the worst of the three. He's the worst.
I don't know about that, mate. What I'm going to say is, mate, regardless of what people say about Neymar, Thiago Silva's had this to say on Neymar's future today. He has to go to Chelsea. If it happens, it will be for the best. He needs no comment. So far, I don't know anything, but I hope it comes to fruition. Now, Neymar, mate, look, he divides opinion. One thing that I think we're both in agreement with, mate, is the guy is a phenomenally talented, probably one of the most naturally gifted players to ever play the game. I think he's got so much ability. What is in question, and I agree with you, mate, is potentially attitude, work rate as well, which are 2 massive things as a player. But having said that, mate, it wouldn't suit Chelsea at all. Let's be perfectly honest. It's just not really going to suit us. But having said that, mate, it's a footballing megastar. Whether you like him or not, the guy has got so much commercial value. It would be phenomenal off the pitch. And whatever you say, mate, he's an iconic name in football. I mean, I'm not saying you'd buy one, but like a Chelsea shirt with Neymar on the back, mate. For Neymar, mate, Pulisic would have to give up that number 10, mate. Neymar with a number 10 on the back, mate, I'd be buying that. I've got to be honest, I would. But yeah, I don't know. I just think he's one of those that, because it doesn't look like, because the game's come so easy to him, it almost looks like he's not trying, in my opinion. But look, let's be honest, it's not happening. But I mean, it's just one of those that you think, fuck, because you just imagine, it's like the same with Ronaldo, not going to happen, but just to have a footballing superstar at Chelsea, it would be phenomenal. Mate, could you imagine, right? This is not going to happen, but pure fantasy football. Imagine a front line, right, of Neymar, Ronaldo, and Raphinha or Sterling. It'd be an absolute joke, wouldn't it? It's literally fantasy football. Even if it's just for one match, mate, it would be a joke to see that. It would be unbelievable. Yeah, Sam, cheers, mate. Appreciate your subscribing there. I'll try to get to as many of the comments as possible. Obviously, when the chat's going quick, it's quite hard to get to them all, but we do read them. I don't always bring them all up, but what we got here, EPL defenders would send Neymar Jr. flying and crashing. Yeah, they probably would.
Yeah, he's an absolute nonce, boy. Sorry. This will sum it up perfectly. That would be a fantastic business proposition, terrible footballing decision.
Do you know what, mate? This is the sort of signing that I'd actually.
That's a United signing all over.
No, but do you know what it is? Do you know what it is a signing, mate? It's a Roman Abramovich signing.
It is.
That's what it is,
about
mate.
30.
Mate, if Roman's still here, I think it's potential that Neymar actually signs for Chelsea. I really do. I still think it's unlikely that Neymar.
That's what's wrong with it.
Neymar won't leave. What we got here, big up Tanaka. Make sure you subscribe, mate, if you haven't already. Boehly just casted a joker. Yeah, he did, mate. Boehly's on that poker hand, mate. He's sitting around the table. Players think, oh, this guy's not got a good hand. Then man just goes down with that royal flush, mate, and flushes them all out. And he comes up trumps with that Raphinha card, mate, and no one else has got it. What else we got here? Quickly, let's get to the things. What we got here? Exactly. Yeah. Thanks, mate. I'm spot on. Yeah. Thanks for that. Don't want to big myself up too much, but yeah, that was spot on from me. I can't even remember what
cheers,
I said.
Tony. Thanks a lot, mate.
Yeah, I've spot on there. Thanks a lot, guys. Yeah, George, we've been here for a lot longer than we thought we were going to be here for. But
it's supposed to be 10 minutes.
Yeah, we were only going to go for a sort of 15, 20 minutes.
We're for the fans.
15, 20 minutes on Raphinha, but then loads of you flooded in. Thoroughly enjoyed interacting with you guys. All the new people that are subscribed, all the new people in the chat, welcome to the channel. Hopefully, we'll have you part of the community now. Really appreciate it a lot. Hopefully, get you on board for more live streams, etc. But guys, yeah, thank you so much for tuning in. It's been a great stream tonight. Really enjoyed it. George, thanks for your time as always, mate. Appreciate it a lot.
No worries.
Guys, thank you so much for really getting involved in the chat. Really makes it good for us. We love interacting with you whilst we're doing this.
With you all. Yeah.
Like and subscribe, guys. As MC said, like and subscribe. Big up, everyone. Make sure you like and subscribe, guys. Quickly,
spread it as well, guys.
Boehly's making a statement. Yeah. Guys, just borrow your mates' phones, and when they say what you're doing, just say you're subscribing to the Blues Brothers, mate. Spread the movement. We're coming in hot like Boehly. Road to 1K now. Hopefully, we're over 600. Ripton, quickly get to this. If Dembele is still available for Chelsea, I'd rather him than Sterling. I would probably respectfully disagree with that, but I get your point. And to be fair, mate, we could end up with Dembele and Sterling, and then we really would be cooking. So, yeah, let's see what happens. But, guys, thank you so much for tuning in tonight. It's been a great stream. Raphinha is coming to Chelsea. Arsenal are mudded. The Blues are marching on. Boehly is doing a madness. Raheem Sterling up next. Guys, subscribe, like, and we'll catch you in the next couple of days with any more news in the transfer market. Take care as always, and up the Chelsea.